Soul, a narrative documentary in prose. Beliefs, myths and taboos, cultures, dark secrets, favorite food, and his last meal. Prologue. On the night of April 14, 1865, a tall man in a black suit could not be coaxed to dinner. Friends called him 3 times. He kept reading from a humorous book, laughing aloud in a house that had not heard much laughter in 4 years. When he finally sat down, he ate for 30 minutes and left for the theater. He would never eat again. That man is the most photographed, quoted, and mythologized American who ever lived, and the least known. This is not a biography of dates. It is an anatomy of a soul divided. Skeptic and mystic, liberator and colonizer, melancholic and jokester, frontier boy and president. Chapter 1. The Skeptic in the Pew. There was the strangest combination of church influence against me. Abraham Lincoln was born February 12, 1809, in a one-room log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky, to Thomas and Nancy Hanks Lincoln, hard-shell Baptists. The hard shells believed in absolute predestination, that God had already decided who was saved and who was damned, and no amount of weeping at a camp meeting could change it. In 1823, near Little Pigeon Creek, Indiana, the family joined Little Pigeon Baptist Church. Young Abraham watched as traveling preachers whipped crowds into ecstasy and then excommunicated each other over doctrine the next week. He never recovered from it. In New Salem, Illinois, a town with no churches at all, Lincoln found Thomas Paine's The Age of Reason and Voltaire. According to his law partner William Herndon, Lincoln drafted his own skeptical pamphlet in 1834, an essay defending universal salvation. The idea that all souls would eventually be saved, which was heresy to Calvinists. Legend says a friend, Samuel Hill, threw it into the stove to save Lincoln's political future. Whether burned or not, Lincoln learned the lesson: keep it private. He did, when accused of being an open scoffer at Christianity. During his 1846 run for Congress against the evangelist Peter Cartwright, Lincoln issued a handbill that is still the clearest window into his early creed. That I am not a member of any Christian church is true, but I have never denied the truth of the scriptures, and I have never spoken with intentional disrespect of religion in general. It is true that in early life I was inclined to believe in what I understand is called the Doctrine of Necessity. That is, that the human mind is impelled to action, or held in rest by some power over which the mind itself has no control. That doctrine, fatalism, determinism, predestination stripped of church, never left him. Historian Alan Gelso calls it Calvinized deism. Lincoln believed in an all-powerful, distant God who moved worlds like a great mind moving chess pieces. Man had no free will, but God had a purpose. Then two events broke the deist's armor. On February 20, 1862, at 5 p.m., his 11-year-old son, Willie, died of typhoid in the White House. 1 week after the funeral, Lincoln isolated himself in his office and wept all day. A White House staffer reported him saying, "May God live in all. He was too good for this earth." Bishop Matthew Simpson later quoted Lincoln asking a soldier, "Do you ever find yourself talking with the dead? Since Willie's death, I catch myself every day involuntarily talking with him as if he were with me." Mary Todd Lincoln, already fragile, became a devotee of spiritualism. Then wildly popular in Washington, she held séances in the Red Room. Mediums like Nettie Colburn Maynard claimed to channel Willie, and even advised Lincoln on emancipation. In 1891, Maynard published Was Abraham Lincoln a Spiritualist, with engravings and letters, claiming Lincoln attended séances in 1862. The traditional historical line from David Donald is that Lincoln attended once, not out of any belief in spiritualism, but in a desire to see who was preying on his wife's mental instability. The truth is likely in between. A grieving father willing to suspend disbelief. The second break was the war itself. In September 1862, after Second Bull Run, and while preparing the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, Lincoln wrote a private meditation never intended for publication. The will of God prevails. In great contests, each party claims to act in accordance with the will of God. Both may be, and one must be, wrong. God cannot be for and against the same thing at the same time. I am almost ready to say that this is probably true, that God wills this contest, and wills that it shall not end yet. By his second inaugural, that became public theology. If God wills that the war continue, until every drop of blood drawn with the lash shall be paid by another drawn with the sword, so still it must be said the judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. He never joined a church. He rented a pew at New York Avenue Presbyterian with his family. He quoted the Bible more than any president before him. He never said unambiguously that Christ was God. He remains, as one scholar put it, neither Christian nor secular freethinker, but something third, American, and unfinished. Chapter 2, The Myth Machine. Every great nation needs a myth, and Lincoln was forced to carry more than any man could. In Lincoln legends, myths, hoaxes, and confabulations associated with our greatest president 2007, historian Edward Steers Jr. catalogs 14 persistent fabrications. That Lincoln wrote the Gettysburg Address on the back of an envelope on the train, that he was born in North Carolina as the illegitimate son of Nancy Hanks and Abraham Lowe, that Secretary of War Edwin Stanton conspired to kill him, that John Wilkes Booth escaped. The envelope story is beloved because it makes genius look effortless. The reality Lincoln labored over drafts for weeks. The North Carolina birth story was spread by his political enemies to paint him as a bastard. His cousin Dennis Hanks confirmed Kentucky. Culture has not stopped remaking him. The monument, Mount Rushmore, 60-foot faces blasted into granite. Lincoln placed last, the preserver. In popular culture, presidents' faces are added next to him as shorthand for greatness or defaced for satire. The Savior in D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, 1915, and John Ford's Young Mister, Lincoln, 1939. He is the humble rail splitter in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln, 2012. Daniel Day-Lewis plays him as a weary, shrewd legislative operator who must deceive to pass the 13th Amendment. The Slayer in Seth Graham Smith's novel Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, 2010, and Timur Bekmambedov's film 2012, Indiana, 1818. Moonlight falls through the dense woods that surround a one-room cabin where a 9-year-old Abraham Lincoln kneels at his suffering mother's bedside. Only later will the grieving Abe learn that his mother's fatal affliction was actually the work of a vampire. The book posits that Southern slaveholders were literally vampires who needed black blood, and Lincoln's axe was for more than rails. Grantland wrote, "Superhero movies are where most of our national myth-making is done now, so it made dispiriting sense when Fox bought the rights. The taboo, sexuality. No discussion of Lincoln's sexuality was documented during his lifetime. In the 19th century, sexuality was not discussed. The modern debate began circa 1995 in Carl Sandburg's 1926 biography. He wrote of Lincoln and Joshua Speed having a streak of lavender and spots soft as May violets, period slang for effeminate. In 2005, sex researcher C.A. Tripp posthumously published The Intimate World of Abraham Lincoln, arguing Lincoln was primarily homosexual. Evidence: sharing a bed with Speed for 4 years in Springfield. A body poem Lincoln wrote as a young man. For Reuben and Charles have married 2 girls, but Billy has married a boy, included by Herndon in 1889, and then censored until 1942. And the fact that Speed and Lincoln worried in letters about performing on their wedding nights. Most Lincoln scholars reject this. As Doris Kearns Goodwin notes, their intimacy is more an index to an era when close male friendships, accompanied by open expressions of affection and passion, were familiar and socially acceptable, nor can sharing a bed be considered evidence. It was common practice in an era when private quarters were a rare luxury. The attorneys of the 8th Circuit in Illinois, where Lincoln would travel, regularly shared beds. Lincoln slept in the same bed with at least 11 boys and men in his youth due to poverty. None of his enemies ever hinted at sodomy, a telling silence in vicious 19th century politics. In 2024, the documentary Lover of Men, the untold history of Abraham Lincoln, revived the claim with unseen letters. Historian Harold Halser's response remains the consensus. Sharing a bed then was not what it is now. Chapter 3, The Shadows He Left. If myths make Lincoln a saint, the archive makes him human. 1. The great colonizer. Since his early political career, Lincoln supported the American Colonization Society, founded to remove free blacks to West Africa, Liberia, whose capital Monrovia was named for President Monroe. In 1854 at Peoria, he said, "My first impulse would be to free all the slaves and send them to Liberia, to their own native land." As president, he acted. In April 1862, Congress funded colonization to Haiti, or Liberia. On August 14, 1862, Frederick Douglass, pointedly not invited, Lincoln told a delegation of black leaders at the White House that black and white people could not live together, and that it was unfair for both to suffer in each other's presence, urging emigration. In 1863, he approved an experiment. 453 freed black Americans sent to Isle la Vache off Haiti. It collapsed catastrophically. Smallpox, starvation, and fraud by white contractors killed over 100. Survivors were rescued by the Navy in 1864. After that, and under abolitionist pressure, Lincoln abandoned colonization. But for 2 years, the great emancipator was also the great colonizer. 2. The suspension. Article 1, Section 9. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended, unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion the public safety may require it. It belongs to Congress. On April 27, 1861, Lincoln, fearing Maryland would secede and isolate Washington, authorized General Winfield Scott to suspend it along rail lines. Thousands were imprisoned without trial. Newspaper editors, Confederate sympathizers, even a Maryland legislator, Chief Justice Roger Taney, the author of Dred Scott, ruled in Ex parte Merriman, 1861, that Lincoln's suspension was unconstitutional. Lincoln ignored the ruling. In September 1862, he issued Proclamation 104, suspending habeas corpus throughout the United States. He argued necessity. It was the most aggressive executive power grab until the 20th century. 3. The largest mass execution. On December 26, 1862, 1 week before the Emancipation Proclamation took effect, Lincoln authorized the simultaneous hanging of 38 Dakota Sioux men in Mankato, Minnesota, the largest mass execution in American history after the U.S. Dakota War, driven by starvation and broken treaties. Military tribunals tried 303 Dakota in proceedings lasting as little as 5 minutes each. with no defense counsel. More than 300 were sentenced to hang. Lincoln reviewed each case by hand, commuting 264, an act presented as mercy, but approving 39, one reprieved at the last minute. A crowd of thousands watched. President Lincoln had just freed 4 million Black Americans. He also ordered the death of 38 Native Americans. 4. Blue mass and broken body. For years before the presidency, Lincoln took blue mass or blue pills for melancholia, then called hypochondriasis. Friends Stuart, Whitney, Lamon, Herndon confirmed it. Blue mass was 19th century antidepressant. Its main ingredient, finely dispersed elemental mercury, about 100 times current EPA guidelines. In 2001, researchers recreated the recipe mercury, licorice root, rose water, honey, sugar, dead rose petals, and tested it. They found Lincoln likely suffered mercury poisoning. Insomnia, tremors, rage attacks, a single evacuation a week, anxiety. In 1861, months after inauguration, noting that blue mass made him cross, Lincoln stopped. Historian Norbert Hirschhorn argues his legendary presidential composure was partly chemical withdrawal. Modern medicine also speculates on Marfan syndrome or multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2B. Tall, long-limbed, Marfanoid habitus, hypotonic facial muscles, inherited from his mother Nancy Hanks Lincoln, who recent photographic analysis suggests was also skeletally Marfanoid. He also contracted smallpox in 1863. Chapter 4, The Frontier Table. Lincoln viewed food as fuel, not pleasure. His private secretary, John Hay, who ate with him, wrote, "He was one of the most abstemious of men. The pleasures of the table had few attractions for him. He ate less than anyone I know." Bodyguard Colonel William H. Crook remembered, Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln breakfasted at 9. Mr. Lincoln was a hearty eater. He never lost his taste for the things a growing farmer's boy would like. He was particularly fond of bacon. In 1850, bacon meant any salted cured pork, not just belly. As the war ground on and his weight dropped to 180 pounds on a 6'4" frame, Mary Todd went to the White House kitchen and begged, "Make chicken fricassee with gravy and biscuits, the one dish that would tempt him." His favorites never changed from Indiana. Apples. Mrs. Lincoln always had a sufficiency of this fruit chosen carefully and ready at hand, Crook wrote. Lincoln said, "Apples agree with me. Corn cakes or corn dodgers." He bragged he could eat them as fast as 2 women could make them. Cornmeal, salt, bacon grease, fried on a griddle. Chicken fricassee. Not fried chicken, but a French-influenced frontier stew. Oysters, anyway, raw, pickled, stewed. At his second inaugural ball, oysters were served in such abundance that guests trampled them into the floor which the Washington Evening Star said became sticky, pasty, and oily with wasted confections. Gingerbread men. His mother Nancy baked 3 for him as a boy. He gave 2 to a poorer friend, and told the story for years to diffuse pompous opponents like Stephen Douglas. You seem to like gingerbread men. I don't suppose anybody on earth likes gingerbread better'n I do, and gets less'n I do. Water was his favorite beverage. He seldom drank alcohol. A hamper of imported wines was sent to Mrs. Lincoln for official functions, not to him. Chapter 5. The Last Supper That Wasn't. Good Friday, April 14, 1865. Washington is celebrating Lee's surrender at Appomattox. Lincoln has been up since 8 a.m. Pardoning soldiers, pardoned. Let it be done. A. Lincoln, April 14, 1865. Then breakfast of bacon, toast, strong coffee. At 7 p.m., he finally sits. In Team of Rivals, Doris Kearns Goodwin relates Governor Richard Oglesby's memory. Lincoln was reading aloud from a humorous book, ignoring calls to dinner, promising each time to come, but continuing. Finally, a peremptory order that he must come to dinner at once. The meal lasts 30 minutes, until 7:30. Mary and Abraham dine alone. Son Robert, an officer on Grant's staff, retires early, exhausted. According to Edward Steers Jr. in Blood on the Moon, the substance of that dinner is not known. Author Andrew Caldwell in Their Last Suppers, Legends of History, and Their Final Meals proposes a menu. Mock turtle soup oxtail, roast Virginia fowl with chestnut stuffing, baked yams, and cauliflower with cheese sauce. Caldwell cites no source. Tasting table and grunge, repeated as legend. Noting historians believe the final menu is lost. Given Hay's description, coffee and an egg for breakfast, biscuit and fruit for lunch. It was likely simple. Perhaps the chicken fricassee Mary hoped he'd eat, whatever it was, at 8 p.m. Lincoln met with Speaker Schuyler Colfax, then entered his carriage for Ford's Theater to see our American cousin. He would be shot around 10:15 and die at 7:22 a.m. on April 15. Contrast that spare, lost meal with the feast a month earlier. March 6, 1865. Second inaugural ball at the Patent Office. 4,000 guests. A 250-foot buffet. Beef à la mode. Pâté de foie gras misspelled pattered on the menu. Smoked tongue and gelée. Roast turkey. Pickled oysters. Oyster stew. And 3 ornamental sugar pyramids. The capital, Admiral Farragut on his flagship Hartford, and Fort Sumter. Guests stormed the table so violently that in less than an hour, the table was a wreck. As much was wasted as was eaten. And however much may have been provided, more than half the guests went supperless, reported the New York Times. From 250 feet of sugar sculptures to a 30-minute dinner alone. Chapter 6. Recipes from Lincoln's kitchen. The following are historically adapted from Ray Catherine Amy's Abraham Lincoln in the Kitchen. Eliza Leslie's directions for cookery, 1837, and White House archives. Measurements modernized. 1. Mary Todd's chicken fricassee with biscuits and cream gravy, the only dish that could tempt Lincoln during the war. Eliza Leslie's method. Historical note. Mary asked White House cook, "Do you know how to prepare chicken fricassee with gravy and biscuits to tempt President Lincoln's appetite?" Ingredients: 1 whole chicken, 3.5 pounds, cut into 8 pieces. 2 teaspoons salt, 1 teaspoon black pepper, 1/4 cup lard or unsalted butter, 1/4 cup flour, 1 medium yellow onion, diced, 2 cups chicken stock, 1 cup heavy cream, 1 teaspoon dried thyme, 1 bay leaf. Biscuits: 2 cups flour, 1 tablespoon baking powder, ½ teaspoon salt, 6 tablespoon cold butter, 3/4 cup buttermilk. Method: season chicken, dredge lightly in flour. In Dutch oven, melt lard over medium. Brown chicken 5 minutes per side. Remove. Add onion, saute 3 minutes. Stir in remaining flour. Cook 2 minutes. Return chicken. Add stock, thyme, bay. Cover, simmer 35 to 40 minutes until tender. For biscuits, cut butter into dry mix. Add buttermilk. Pat 3/4 inch thick. Cut rounds. Bake at 425 degrees Fahrenheit, 12 to 14 minutes. Remove chicken. Stir cream into gravy. Reduce 5 minutes. Serve chicken over biscuits. Gravy poured over. 2. Kentucky corn cakes or corn dodgers. As fast as 2 women could make them. Ingredients: 1 cup fine yellow cornmeal, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 tablespoon bacon grease or butter, 3/4 cup boiling water, extra grease for griddle. Method: mix cornmeal, salt, pour boiling water over, add grease, stir to stiff mush. Let sit 5 minutes. Wet hands. Form 3-inch flat patties, ½ inch thick. Heat griddle with bacon grease over medium-high. Fry 4 to 5 minutes per side until crisp and golden. Best eaten hot with butter and honey. 3. Nancy Hanks gingerbread men. Lincoln's mother made 3 for him. He gave 2 away. Ingredients: 3 cups all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon ground ginger, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon cloves, ½ teaspoon baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon salt, ½ cup soft butter, ½ cup dark brown sugar, ½ cup molasses, 1 egg, 2 tablespoon water. Method: whisk dry spices, cream butter and sugar, add molasses, egg, water. Mix in flour to soft dough. Chill 1 hour. Roll 1/4 inch thick cut men. Bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 to 12 minutes. Cool. 4. Apple pan dowdy. Lincoln's favorite apple dish. Ingredients: 6 large winesap or Granny Smith apples, sliced, 3/4 cup brown sugar, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg, 1 tablespoon lemon juice, 2 tablespoon butter. Crust: 1½ cups flour, ½ teaspoon salt, ½ cup shortening, 4 tablespoon cold water, 1/4 cup molasses for drizzling. Method: toss apples with sugar, spices, lemon. Place in buttered 9-inch pan. Dot butter. Make crust. Roll over apples. Cut slits. Bake 400 degrees Fahrenheit 15 minutes. Then 350 degrees Fahrenheit 30 minutes. Break crust with spoon and push into juices the dowdy, messy. Drizzle molasses. Bake 10 minutes more. Serve warm. 5. White House oyster stew. Served at second inaugural ball. Both stewed and pickled. Ingredients: 1 pint fresh shucked oysters with liquor, 4 tablespoon butter, 1 small onion minced, 1 stalk celery minced, 2 cups whole milk, 1 cup heavy cream, salt, white pepper, cayenne, oyster crackers, chopped parsley. Method: in saucepan, melt 2 tablespoon butter, sweat onion and celery 3 minutes. Add milk and cream. Heat to steaming, not boiling. Add oysters with liquor. Simmer until edges curl 3 to 4 minutes. Do not boil. Finish with remaining butter. Season. Serve immediately with crackers. 6. The alleged last meal: mock turtle soup and roast Virginia fowl with chestnut stuffing, baked yams, cauliflower with cheese sauce. Disclaimer: this menu is from Andrew Caldwell, without primary source, included as legend. A. Mock turtle soup using oxtail, not turtle. 2 pounds oxtail, 1 onion, 2 carrots, 2 celery, 1 bay, 6 cups beef stock, ½ cup sherry, 2 hard-boiled eggs chopped, lemon slices. Simmer oxtail 3 hours in stock with vegetables until meat falls. Strain, shred meat. Return with sherry, eggs, lemon. B. Roast Virginia fowl with chestnut stuffing. 1 roasting chicken, 4 to 5 pounds. Salt, pepper. Stuffing: 1 pound roasted chestnuts peeled and chopped. 1 cup breadcrumbs. ½ cup onions sautéed. 1/4 cup butter. 1 teaspoon sage. ½ cup chicken stock. Stuffed chicken, truss. Roast at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 hour 15 minutes, until 165 degrees Fahrenheit. C. Baked yams. 4 medium sweet potatoes, butter, brown sugar, cinnamon. Bake 400 degrees Fahrenheit 45 minutes. Split butter and sugar. D. Cauliflower with cheese sauce. 1 head cauliflower, florets steamed. Sauce: 2 tablespoon butter, 2 tablespoon flour, 1½ cup milk, 1 cup sharp cheddar grated, mustard powder. Make roux, whisk milk, add cheese. Serve together as Caldwell imagined Lincoln's last 7 p.m. dinner. Epilogue. Lincoln's last bodyguard, said he, was a hearty eater who never lost a boy's taste. His secretary said he ate less than anyone. Both were true. Lincoln was a man who could hold two contradictory truths at once: that God wills the war to continue, and that we must act to end it; that all men are created equal, and that they cannot live together; that he loved apples and could not remember to eat. We savor him through food now, because food is the most democratic memorial. Anyone can bake corn cakes. Anyone can break a gingerbread man in half and give two away.